This video is sponsored by Aura.
Hey Sugar Plums, thank you for joining me. Today I'm making this video for any witch or mystic out there who genuinely feels like they have so much empathy and sometimes not enough genuine tools to be able to deal with the intensity of that empathy. I'm making this video for anyone on a spiritual journey who watches my channel. Hello if you're new here and you've only just started watching. Anyone who feels like they just worry a lot about the people around them. They feel and pick up on the energy and emotion of those around them. They worry about the wider community, the wider world. They worry about the planet. They can almost feel the earth crying, like pain and grief and sadness and injustice weigh very, very heavy on the hearts of anyone who is hopefully going to get something from this video. If that's you, or if that's you right now in this moment and you can relate to that, that's me too. And so I'm making this video just as much for me as it is for you. I want to sit with a few thoughts on how it's possible to be able to handle that level of empathy, that level of emotional data, that level of concern for people and animals and the planet or whatever it is, and how we can be of service whilst also making sure that we stay sane and strong and stable.
The strong and stable leadership we need.
I just think it's a conversation we really should roll around to a few times. Do you know what I mean? Every so often, we need to get into this kind of dialogue, my loves. Maybe you are a natural helper. You're someone who very often can sense when you are needed and you respond, or you're someone that a lot of people come to for support. Maybe you're someone who really is both feet in right now, really giving it your all. You're showing up and you need to admit that you are running on empty. Or maybe you are someone that is really feeling deeply empathy, and you feel like you need to show up, but you're running away. You're in avoidance because you just don't know genuinely how you would be able to handle the feelings that would come through for you and how you would survive that, right? So this video is for you guys, okay? And for me, as I said. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about what can be done to make sure that we don't check out, make sure that we keep checking in, and make sure that for as long as we want to show up for other people and for as long as we want to have our heart in this reality, we also can ensure that we don't end up broken and in a heap in the corner on the floor. Let's see if we can do this. It's my genuine belief that if you really want to embody the archetype of the healer or the helper or the counselor or the activist or any of those things, if you really want to embody those archetypes at all in this reality, then you have to schedule joy and rest with the same urgency as you schedule service. As you schedule showing up and giving of yourself. I really know how hard that is for conscious mystics because you can end up feeling so incredibly guilty for having any kind of positive or restful experience when you are so aware all of the time of the pain that is going on. And sometimes you really just can feel and download the pain that is going on. You really can't be set apart from it, and you don't feel that you should be set apart from it at any moment of the day. And so having positivity, experiencing joy, experiencing rest can feel really wrong and really out of step with where your heart is and with what you really feel is important. I know that you've got people in your reality that you probably want to take care of. I know that you've got concerns collectively in the world that you want to be a part of. I know that you want to show up. But can I just encourage you to schedule some beautiful, joyful, playful, and restful things, into your calendar so that you have those things to look to and so that you know that those things are coming. Can I encourage you at all to put that stuff into the schedule a bit more if you know that you have been really giving of yourself, you've really been listening, or you've really been doing your activism, you've really been assisting somebody in your life that's in struggle, you've really been volunteering, you've really been doing whatever it is that you've been doing that you know is taking energy from you for righteous reasons, and it's energy that you want to spend. But if you know that that expenditure is there and you don't have things on your calendar that you can point to and say, I can't wait for that. That's just going to be about me or me and my friends or whatever. I'm just going to relax and read. I'm just going to go and have a little spa day. I'm just going to go and lie in the park, I'm just going to go and dance my head off, right? Whatever it is, having those things in the schedule will give you longevity. It will give you strength. It will give you stability. It will give you sanity. It will give you that sense that you can be in it for the long haul and that you are not forgetting yourself as you do whatever work it is you're doing with your deep empathy and your heightened sensitivity and your brilliant insight and your wondrous compassion. All of these things that you want to bring to the table to be in service, I think they are fed and they are fueled and they are honored by rest and by joy and by sacred play. For me, one way to get around the guilt that I feel sometimes for experiencing joy and just like experiencing what I have at my disposal that can give me pleasure is I try to make those times divinely protected, right? I think about it exactly like a witch would. It's like carving out sacred space so that you can protect the energy that you're going to build up inside. It's the same thing with my times of pleasure and rest and joy and play. I divinely protect them. I decide that they are sacred and that they are non-negotiable and that I dedicate them to my witchhood and I dedicate them to the gods. In my journal recently, I wrote about times of joy and rest, and I said, put protection around them, thread them with symbolism, celebrate them as moments of energetic renewal for your body, mind, and soul. Burnout thrives in joyless places, and that's what I'm really trying to get across. Burnout thrives in joyless places. Joy is the fuel, joy is the medicine. Darlings, this video today is sponsored by Aura, the delicious wellness app that has over 8 million users worldwide. Aura has all kinds of things for you, including sleep stories and hypnosis, meditations, breath work, CBT, live coaching, all kinds of things you can imagine. It's a very versatile and well-stuffed app. The thing I love about Aura is it's a one-stop shop. If I need to get sleepy, it's Aura. If I want to do shadow work podcasts, it's Aura. If I want to find some kind of binaural beat, Aura has it. So it basically really helps me to just have everything in one place. Whatever I need, I know I can go there and find something. Aura makes it really easy to sign up, to customize your preferences, to have the experience you want to have. And they even allow you to make customized playlists of the different content that you really vibe with. I've actually made a customized playlist, which I'll link in the description. It's a shadow work playlist that I did a 30-day meditation challenge with. I challenge you to make your own 30-day meditation playlist as well. You can get started completely free with Aura today by using the special link in the description of this video, and that also entitles you to 25% off as an exclusive if you choose to go on and become a member with Aura. It very much helps my channel when you use my link to sign up, and it will help your personal development when you do this good thing for yourself. Thank you, Aura, for sponsoring. Let's get back on with it. Okay, now I really want to get into something that I think is very important. I'm going to talk a little bit about holding space because I know I've got a lot of space holders watching this video right now. Do you guys remember very recently that culturally incredible moment during that Wicked interview when this happened?
I've seen this week people are taking the lyrics of Defying Gravity and really holding space with that.
I didn't know that was happening.
I've seen it, yeah.
That's really powerful.
Mm-hmm.
And then everybody went completely nuts, didn't they? They talked about how weird it was and mocked it relentlessly. And I was sat there watching it thinking, yeah, this is just a Tuesday for me in terms of the way I talk. I literally talk about and think about and write about holding space all the time. Like, it's just such beige everyday lingo for me. It's so funny how many people were like, oh, holding space. Oh, you're holding space. And I was like, I mean, that's just like as normal as holding the door in my reality. But let's talk about holding space for a minute, okay? Let's talk about it. Just before I started filming, I decided to write down off the top of my dome a definition of holding space. And what I wrote was, when you're holding space, it means you're giving presence, attention, and concentration to a process or an emotion to the extent that it can truly be witnessed, understood, and at least partially healed. Okay. And then I wrote that it's not a weird witchy woo-woo thing to do, right? People hold space all the time without knowing that that is what they're doing. For example, if somebody rings up their friend and says, I really need to come over and talk about the divorce. I've just got so much in my head about it. Like, I'm angry, I'm sad, I'm fearful. And the friend says, yeah, come over, I'll make some tea and we can talk about it. That friend in that moment who has offered to lend a listening ear and really go through all the bits and pieces of the divorce is agreeing to hold space, right? They're agreeing to hold a strong space where it's not going to be about them. They're going to listen. They're going to give advice if they're asked to give advice. They're just basically going to really hold a nice, strong, firm foundation for their friend to pace up and down and get stressed about their divorce, right? That can be as simple as it is. The thing is, when you know that you're holding space, you're better at holding space, right? So when people talk about holding space and they describe it like that, it demonstrates that they have an understanding of what needs to happen before, during, and after holding space. And they understand when they're doing it versus when they're not doing it. And this is really, really important. Let me explain, okay? Walk with me, walk with me. So I also wrote in my notes, holding space by definition means that space is contained for a specific purpose, for a specific time. The space is marked out for something, just like sacred space. It's not just there all the time. It is fueled with intention for the span of its existence, and then it's not being held anymore. In order for you to hold space again, you need to inwardly consent to do that, and then you go into space holding mode. You are not meant to constantly be a being that holds space, right? For everyone and everything, all times of the day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, right? That's not how it's supposed to be. The point of talking about holding space is that sometimes you're holding it and sometimes you're not. Sometimes you're holding it for yourself, sometimes for another, sometimes another's holding it for you, right? So be conscious of when you are holding space. I think it's obvious that way too many witches and mystics who have this incredible ability to be able to hold space and give empathy think that they're supposed to be doing that all the time. Like that's just supposed to be the default setting. They're supposed to be on all the time to do that. Instead, I would really encourage you to think about when you're going to hold space, or notice when you are. If you didn't have any time to prep before you were holding space for someone or something, then just make sure that during it, you are aware that that is what you're doing and that that is a role that you're playing in that moment. It doesn't define who you are. You don't need to do it all the time. You're not expected to do it all the time. And if anybody in your life expects it, that's an issue that needs to be dealt with within the fabric of that relationship, right? For me, if I know I'm going to be holding space for my own feelings or for the feelings of a loved one or whatever, for anything that's going on in the world or in my friendship group, if I know I'm going to be holding space, I prep beforehand. I spend some time with myself. I really think about how I want to hold the space. You know, I give myself some strengthening, grounding, centering. During the holding of the space, I'm very aware that that is my role, just like I am with my tarot clients and my mentoring clients. And then afterwards, I debrief. I, have my little post-mortem. I might write some things down and I recover. I'm gentle with myself. I would really recommend that if you don't think enough consciously about when you're holding space and how you hold space, think about it and consider it to be a role that you are good at playing, not who you are to people. That's got to be the difference. If you think that your worth and your identity and your beingness is just holding space, right? Holding the flow of suffering, all of the flow of suffering, instead of just holding a cup of it at a given time, that is an issue. And I wrote here, forgive yourself for being unable to heal every wound all on your own all the time. And I mean that kind of facetiously, right? Because there's no need to forgive yourself for that. Of course you can't do that. Stop trying to carry the whole flow of suffering. Your job is to hold space sometimes, not be the space all the time. Maybe you're coming in to watch this video from a place of cynicism, apathy, hopelessness, irritability, right? Maybe you are pushing everything really far away that you care about or that you're worried about or that you're really feeling because you just can't handle it anymore. And you just feel like, you know what? The earth is going to hell in a fucking handbasket. There's nothing anyone can do. All the bad people with the money are destroying everything faster than we could ever hope to heal it or rearrange it. I'm out. I'm done. I just can't do this anymore, right? I can't help anyone. I can't be a part of anything. That's compassion fatigue. You have compassion fatigue. And when you're in it, it feels like the only thing you're ever going to feel. It feels like that's the last stop on the train, right? I've had it before where I'm just like throwing in the fucking towel. That's it. Everything's bad. Everything's horrible. Everywhere is grief and sorrow and it's devastating and there's nothing anyone can do. I know that that's not the way that I want to live my life, but at the time it really feels like it, and it's compassion fatigue, and it is not a failure, it is a message to you. Study the symptoms of your compassion fatigue when it comes up, right? For some people it is irritability and moodiness and stuff, mental fog, lack of empathy, snapping at people, slipping into avoidance behaviors and comfort beliefs that don't serve you, or comfort habits that don't serve you, maybe even ones that you got rid of long ago in the past and then they come back when you're in this apathetic state where you're closed off to your empathy, right? And whenever they hit, pause, notice them, and then ask yourself, do I need to take a break? Do I need to cancel some plans? Do I need to write my feelings down? Do I need some fucking space held for me? Do I need to reach out and ask for that myself? After a time of being deeply compassionate or very involved in activism or helping out with a friend who's going through something awful or being there, for your community, right? After any kind of time like that, where you've just been really feeling and giving, you can always call your compassion back to you. You can always reclaim that energy. And I know I've suggested this video on my channel so many times, but please, if you haven't watched my energy management video, my spiritual hygiene video, I'll leave it down below. Go and watch it. It gives you a little system for making sure that you are calling your energy back to you when you're done sending it out, wherever you happen to be sending it out, so that it returns to you, so that it nurtures you and not just other people and the situations you're dealing with. I've experienced compassion fatigue quite a few times in my life now. I know for some of you it might sound like a really harsh term, like, oh, you're tired of giving compassion. But yeah, like sometimes I'm tired of feeling it. I'm tired of being overwhelmed by it. I'm tired of worrying about everything I can't change. I'm exhausted, right? And with that feeling comes a lot of different like beliefs and ideas and behaviors that I know are not in alignment with how I really want to live, but they're happening as some kind of a message, some kind of a sign that I need to help myself. I need to do something different. I need to take it to the gods. I need to take it to a friend. I need to sleep, maybe, whatever it needs to be. One thing I want to say about spiritual hygiene and energy management, being able to ground and center and shield and cleanse and all of that good stuff. I want to say that for those of you with a very strong healer archetype or with very, very strong empathy, it's not optional. That shit is not optional. And please don't ever tell yourself that it is. Be doing it, okay? If you cleanse your objects, your home, your altar, whatever, cleanse your energetic field. If you don't really do any cleansing or grounding or centering or protecting, but you know that you're feeling very off key about the intensity of the empathy and the sheer downloads of emotion that you're experiencing, then now's the time. Set up your energy management system, your spiritual hygiene system. Again, I refer you to the previously recommended video. I will leave it down below, but there is so many different pieces of wonderful advice out there. Don't just stick with me. Go as far as you can into these incredible waters that people recommend of setting up brilliant practices to help you to nurture and understand your energy, where it's going, how it's feeling, what it's interacting with, how to cleanse it, how to ground it, etc. As I'm talking about energy management and spiritual hygiene, I'm really thinking about mentioning that cord cutting, which is something I've made a video on. I'll leave it down below. But cord cutting spells, right, are not just these big elaborate spells that you do when it's really, really time to like pull the plug on something that's been mightily important in your reality. Cord cutting for a very empathetic witch or a very conscious mystic who's trying to do a lot for other people and is feeling a lot for others needs to be a daily occurrence sometimes, right? Cord cutting can just be very much like something that you do in these daily little doses, right? After each interaction that took any amount of energy from you or made you use any amount of brain power or feel into it at all, you can just imagine yourself cutting whatever cord came through that conversation that you were feeding energy into and that you were thinking about, whatever cord you were passing your empathy through. And you can say, what's theirs is theirs, what's mine is mine. And now I return to myself. I call my energy back to myself. I'm pleased that I sent it in that direction, but now I reclaim, all of the excess. I bring it back to me, right? What's the next thing? You can be doing things like that. Please don't think that cord cutting is this thing where you need to really figure out if you want to cut this great big juicy gigantic meaty cord between you and this person or this place or whatever, and it's all got to be very grandiose and very flowery, and you've really got to know that that's what you want. We very often just recall our energy or kind of like neatly cut off our energy when we are about to refocus onto a different task, or we're about to go into a different time of day. We're about to go into a different mode of thinking, right? We're about to start stopping talking with one person and start talking with someone else. We recalibrate our energy in all of these beautiful little ways. And if we can be more conscious of that, I think that really helps. And if we're feeling at odds at all, if we're feeling too intense in our empathy or our worry about someone or our worry about the world, we can always say, okay, now I'm wrapping that bit up now. I will definitely come back to it. I will definitely feed more to it because it's important to me. But right now, I'm doing this thing. I have this activity I need to do. I have to step into this mode of being. Don't feel guilty about it. Know that you are doing good energy management, that you're not leaking vital life force. For the overgivers amongst you, don't confuse martyrdom with devotion. I know it sounds like really tough love, but I have to say this from my own experience, okay? I made a video a long time ago about overgiving that you might want to check out if this is resonating with you. I'll leave it down below. It's about my overgiving in relation to a very specific connection in my life. But overgiving is something that I think about a lot, and it's something I work with clients around, you know, in the energetic and spiritual realms. So I really, really want to say that bleeding out for others all the time is not divine. It's dysfunctional. Define how you want to be of service and what you feel that you're really being called to do in those acts of service. And then what is off limits? What is actually not possible just because you are one individual and so it's too much for you, or because you want to divide your service in different ways and you don't want to be someone that is locked out of your service. You want to also be in service towards yourself and your own needs and your own desires, which is okay. You can do that too, right? Like I said, that's what produces the longevity and the stability anyway, to be able to keep helping and giving of yourself. So I think really think about how you want to serve and what that should look like, and make an agreement with yourself. Write a statement of commitment for yourself around what it looks like to help, to be in service, to offer insight, to do all of these things that you know you're good at doing and that you can really, you know, feel that you're good at doing. And then you write in that statement of commitment what you absolutely will not do, what is not okay, right? And how you're going to deal with that instinct when it comes up of like, this is too much. I really am starting to feel off key myself, right? I'm cancelling my stuff all the time to be able to help with this. I'm out of pocket financially so I can give to this thing. I'm worried about bills so that somebody, you know what I mean? So you're really looking at like, okay, what isn't okay? And actually, what have I maybe been doing for quite a while that is really a massive overstretch of my own resources in any way that I need to really address, because that's not fair on me and it's not helping me to be a healthy healer. You're not here to save everyone and fix everything. You can't save everyone and fix everything. You're not a magnanimous interventionist God. And isn't that actually a relief, you know? So it's really looking at like, what are my motivations for overgiving to this degree? Is it an egoic thing? Is it an old wound? What is it that makes me feel like I have to, give in all of these ways until I feel sick? Don't let your ego shroud itself in a cloak of endless giving, because sometimes that really can be what it is. And sometimes it's also about worth, especially if you were raised in an environment where you were told repeatedly, either through word or by action, that it's only when you're giving that you mean anything. It's only when you're serving that you're loved. And it's really time to look at that and say, I'm deconditioning, I'm breaking that cycle. That's actually not true about me. Where do you need to release some responsibility because it's not realistic, you know? I just want to say, for anybody watching this who knows that they're kind of like sat on the sidelines right now, maybe you're not giving of your empathy, or you're not finding a way that you can express your love for people or for the planet or whatever. You're not doing that because you're scared of how it's going to make you feel, or you're scared of how much energy it's going to take from you. Can I please just say that you do not need to wait for all of your wounds to be healed before you can get in the game. Your wounds do not disqualify you from showing up in some way, okay? They are not deterrents to you getting involved. They are your credentials, okay? So many people who want to be of service in some way, or they want to help, they want to give of themselves, they want to be activists, they want to be volunteers, they really just want to show up more in their friendship group, they want to give of themselves from that heart-led place. They don't have perfect lives. They don't have perfect support systems, right? They are giving because of the wounds they've experienced themselves. And that's not true in all cases. But for a great many people, it's not only that feeling of empathy, like, wow, I could be in that position. The fact that I'm not is only luck. But it's also from that feeling of like, I've felt shit. I've felt unsafe. I've felt afraid. No one deserves that, right? So they're actually working actively from their wounds in their empathy. It's not that they had to wait for everything to be hunky fucking dory in every conceivable way for them to show up in some way for someone else. It's more about like, are they healthily boundaried, right? And do they know the difference between what they can do and what is out of their scope of control? Or are they being eaten alive by what is out of their scope of control? And that's making them unhealthy, overgiving, you know, just totally fucking exhausted with nothing nice in the calendar for themselves, because that's where it gets unhealthy, obviously. If you think about your wounds, right? If you think about the issues that you have right now, the traumas that you have from the past, the things that you know are like negative habits for you or whatever, they're not your finest, proudest moments or parts of yourself. If you write those things down and then you try and figure out what are the superpowers that these things have given me, it's very, very potent. And I sometimes get clients to do that. I get them to write down what are their perceived like limitations, their difficult diagnoses, their difficult flaws, their, you know, not proudest moments in their history. And then we go through like, what are the powers that you've gotten that are associated with these things as well? What have you learned? What made you stronger from having to go through these things or deal with these things, you know? So I think it's always really awesome if you know you want to get more involved and you have had your head in the sand a little bit. Take the other advice on board as much as you can from this video about, you know, spiritual hygiene and getting pleasure and rest and joy, right? All of that. But also think about how the things that you've been through give you some sense of a lens into this thing that you want to help with that makes you fucking useful, right? It makes you a good advocate or a good listener, a good person to understand the situation. But really, all you need to have empathy and act on that empathy is to literally just be a human being. Just be a human being. And that's your starting point. When you're helping somebody, when you're in healing mode or counseling mode, space holding mode, right? Giving mode, you are the healer, not the hospital in that moment, right? You are a channel. You're not a floodgate. You are sacred. And so is your sustainability and your sanity and your access to softness in any regard. That still counts. Remember that helping and healing and giving of yourself and feeling deeply for others, it is a tidal rhythm. It's got a tidal rhythm to it. It doesn't have to be a constant waterfall. It shouldn't be a constant waterfall. Don't feel bad for pulling back for a bit of rest and then going back onto the battlefield renewed, okay? It's like Four of Swords, basically. We want you there because you need some repose and you are unapologetic about that, not because you are in avoidance with the blanket over your head, like, oh, I really believe in this battle, but I can't get involved, you know? It's really got to be that sense of like, I need to take care of me. I need to take care of me, and that's okay. When you need to slide down the wall, do it. When you need to scream into a pillow, do it, right? When you need to have a fucking day off and dance your heart out or whatever it is, do it. Trust your process. And that has really helped me to deal with, honestly, what I feel is just sometimes excruciatingly soul-crushing feelings of sadness and powerlessness at all of the injustices and the pain that I can't take away as my one individual self. So I hope that this has helped. I hope it's given you something to consider. Leave your comments down below. Let me know anything that you thought and felt. I'm always available. You can work with me. I will leave the link to my website down below and to Patreon as well if you want to come join. Thank you so much for listening. If you got this far, I really truly appreciate it. And it's highly likely that you are someone with whom I can deeply empathize with because you needed or you wanted to soak in the advice from this video. And that means that you are pretty much where I am now. And it's hard. It's hard and it's difficult and it's it's a lot. So thank you so much for being here and just communing together with me on this. Much love and blessed be. Thank you so much, Aura, for sponsoring. Mwah. Okay, darlings, ciao for now.